So hello, today it's my last day in Sweden and I'd like to show you some nice sights around Torshälla, which is near Eskilstuna in the south of Sweden. Thought I'd end up in the church itself. So I haven't carried out any research really on this lovely town as such, but I hope the pictures will justify themselves. But what you do realise when you come to a place like Torshälla, or in fact any part of Sweden, is the immense amount of waterways. I mean, they've got a sort of, I'm guessing, a Victorian era canal system, although they didn't have the Victorians here. So you will see also that the Swedes, and I would say the Scandinavians in general, really use the waterways to full effect. Because their summers are quite short, or very short actually, they really embrace it. So you'll find a lot of the sort of life is around waterways, lakes, etc. So we're going to carry on following this canal, which will lead us to the centre, and the church is just up there. So I've actually realised this is actually not a canal, it's actually the river. So climbing up from the sort of embankment of this river, we start to go in the town itself. You pass sort of a mixture of new and old buildings. And you'll also see these stone goats. Now, I was here in April for a funeral, and I found out that these goats were actually connected to Thor. In the old Norse mythology, they were used to pull his chariot, and when he got a bit peckish he would pull over and eat one, and then they would regrow. So although we're in the 21st century, you're never far from Norse mythology in Scandinavia. Storgatan, the big road. So one of the other things that you'll notice in Sweden, there's very few aeroplanes passing over this part. So the sky is clear. Also, they have an industrial holiday running from June to July. So you'll find a lot of businesses, etc., will be shut. It's beautiful, isn't it? So this is the ancient part of the town. We're climbing quite a hill now to catch the level of the church. You'll also notice in Scandinavia a lot of buildings are painted in yellow, blue, red. Red's most popular. Grey. So just picking an average house. Front wall's made out of these huge rocks. Rocks are everywhere here. Mostly granite as well. Taking the wrong road, so back down the hill. I'll try this direction. It's very peaceful here as well, which suits me just fine. Because although I do like the cities and towns, I'm, I guess, more of a country lad. So as you go up north, you'll find more and more buildings like this, built from pine, a couple of 100 years old, if not more, and super warm when the wood burner's on. So now we're facing the square of Torshälla, a very ancient place indeed. And this place was associated with Tor's, or the pagan god Tor, the sacrifice to him, a long, long time ago. So much has not been documented. But from memory, I believe the 12th century they built this magnificent church. Now, very similar to English churches, we've got the west tower and a nave, the chancel. But this building, this room is very interesting. Well, I call it a room, that'd be an insult. It's a sacred part of this church, the original chancel, I believe from the 1200s or 1100s. Yeah, I think it is from 1100 something. Magnificent. Always happy when a church is open. So here we have one of the original rune stones. And I believe this was connected to a farmer or a landowner. You can see how thick the pink granite is. Must be about 8 inches thick, weigh a couple of tons at least. And then they've got the original iron strongbox. You can see the lovely Swedish language there. You see the church. We'll just walk around because they've got a bit of piano practice. So this amazing memorial is to a family of around 1671. See that everything is so different in Sweden. Just look at the lampshade. Or to cast the light, the lamp in the corner. So we start with St Bridget from the 15th century. This is a seriously old icon. And directly opposite we've got St Gertrude. Now St Gertrude, this statue is also from the 15th century, and it would have been hidden during the European Reformation. So this is about 600 years old, isn't it something? So now we look upon the West Tower organ gallery, and these carvings come from the Book of Revelation of John. Is we've entered underneath the West Tower itself. You see the layout is very similar to an English church, just the construction's different. So I believe a lot of churches in Sweden are connected to the Lutheran period. I think long ago this church would have been very wealthy. Look at the furniture inside of it. Now where we stand now in the nave, it was built around 1317, so it's sort of 14th century. Now we look upon St Catherine, and this is also 15th century. Now, if I'm not mistaken, St Catherine was actually broken on a wheel. You can see a large nail sticking out of her. Now this old altarpiece was donated in the 1700s. What a beautiful carved and gilded picture frame, look at that. So in England this would be sort of Georgian period. Look at this circle here. This is, I believe, where the church was actually blessed by the bishop when it was first built. Now the West Tower itself was built around the 15th century. Oh, Swedish language. Yeah. Be from one of the noble families. Look on the floor, these rings, iron rings. To lower down this huge iron slab. I've just realised it's actually a piano tuner. Piano tuners kindly agreed to play some music rather than tune.
Swedish piece.
That was beautiful. What was it called?
It's a summer piece.
Oh, summer piece.
We have composite man. His name is Petersson Berger, and write many pieces for summer, spring and summer.
It's magnificent. It sounds it's got a summer feel to it.
And this is when summer comes.
Yes, you've got to make the most of it.
Explodes.
Exactly. You enjoy your day. Thank you very much for the lovely music.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We certainly can play. So now we've ascended the pulpit. You can see it's a magnificent pulpit. This is a grand affair. So this pulpit is 1642. It's incredibly old, isn't it? 1642 by Michael Reckner. Chopin?
No, Debussy.
Oh, sorry, Debussy.
Debussy.
Yeah, Debussy.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Sounds good now.
So,
The tuning sounds really good.
now it's ready.
You're happy.
Yes.
Good. Have a good.
So happy I can be. It's not so very good.
You're a perfectionist.
Uh,
Perfectionist.
it is not possible to do it perfect.
No, of course.
No.
But as good as you can do it. As good as it can be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Nice talking to you. Now we face the chancel itself, and this is the oldest part of the church, which is 12th century. We can see more of these blessing crosses. I can't think what they're called in English, but pretty sure this is where the building is sanctified. And I believe the ceiling, the dome, which is all vaulted and made in stone. It's very unusual in England, but in France it's very common. You can see a scene there with trees and a house. You see that? Some language there, look at that. It's fascinating, isn't it? So without looking into it, I reckon this is a different period, different artist. It's much more elaborate. So if I've got this correct, this magnificent altarpiece was made in 1912, and the painting is by Axel Torneman. And you can see Jesus on his way to crucifixion. Definitely my favourite part of this church. Is most likely the oldest. So if you go behind the altar, or the reredos, there you go, I always trip over something. It does say mind the step. But if we look at this, it's just fantastic. Look. You can clearly see the original frescoes as such. I won't touch them, but this was whitewashed. One of the congregation here explained that this was whitewashed during the Reformation, around the same time that Henry VIII had the churches in England whitewashed. You can see a fresco there, it's hard to see what it is. But going back, this is my favourite part. Magnificent, look at these walls, about 3 foot thick, about a metre I'd say. Wow. So I'm guessing they've they've copied the original, which was 1780, I believe. And here we have perhaps the oldest consecration cross in this church. Perhaps that's something to do with the tree of life, I don't know. Seems that the branches, they spread out. And if you look on the ceiling, you can see more branches and stems. If you follow it across, you can see stars. So you can definitely believe that somebody, or the priest of the time, would not let an Englishman sit here, where we sit now. In the 1100s, this would have been the most sacred of all places. Just as in England, these parts of the chancel and the altar would have been off limits to most of the population. Wow, a spectacular place, isn't it? I was talking to the piano tuner, he's telling me that in summertime a lot of churches, they celebrate the fact that it is summer. Looks like one of the old tie rods to hold the wall together. What's different to the English church is the size of the brick. It's got to be about 4 inches by 12 or 13. Good size that. Wow, look at that. This is the western end of the tower. I think from memory it's 15th century, so it's got some age to it. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? And you can see one of the traditional styled houses in red. You'll also find they're not short of stone here, it's absolutely everywhere, so they're likely to make some serious gravestones out of granite. And look at the wall, it's just constructed from loose rubble, just lying around everywhere. Dropped off here by the last ice age. It's great, isn't it? So I hope you've enjoyed this little video of this church, and yeah, thank you very much.